Look, if you search how to use music on YouTube without getting copyright claims, or how to stay monetized using music, or anything like that, just stop. Don't upload that video just yet, all right? Because one wrong track can get your video demonetized, muted, and it could even put your entire channel in danger, okay? And if you just got monetized, you already know you cannot afford that. You still on the grind up and you want to stay consistent. I understand that. A lot of creators don't realize how serious this is until it happens to them. They think it's rare or that it won't happen to their channel specifically, but the truth is, it happens every single day. And it usually happens when you least expect it. So especially when you start to gain momentum on a video or on your channel overall. Now, if you already know that you need safe music for YouTube, royalty-free, copyright-free, go to savagesoundlibrary.com and enter your email in the email opt-in towards the bottom of the page. And that's going to send you a discount code that's going to let you select 10 tracks for $7. Up to 10 tracks. You can select less. It'll be 98.5% off no matter how many tracks you select. So if you select 5, whatever the cost of that is, 98.5% off. But it's a one-time usage code. All right. And in that way, you can check out the tracks, use them in your video, and it's less than the price of a coffee. That's for you that don't want to deal with any risk at all. You just want something that works and lets you move on. No research, no second guessing. But if you actually want to understand how all of this works, so you never have to worry about this again, then keep on watching. Because once you understand this, you'll never look at using music on YouTube the same. Now, in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how this works, why so many creators get this wrong, how to completely avoid copyright issues so you can post consistently and actually make money on your YouTube channel. I'm not about to just give you service level advice either, okay? We're gonna go deeper than what you're gonna see in most videos, considering I've got some personal experience with this. See, I went through this myself. I had some copyright issues on my channel, and it almost cost me my channel. I'm not talking from theory, I'm talking from real experience, and it's something that I wish I understood earlier. Now, by the end of this video, you're gonna have clarity, you're gonna know exactly what to do, and more importantly, you're gonna know what not to do. That way, you'll be able to move forward with confidence and make something happen. Let me guess, you just got through editing a video, you found a track that sounds perfect for what you got going, the vibe that you want, but now you're kind of stuck like, wow, is this gonna be safe for my YouTube channel? Am I gonna get a copyright claim or a copyright strike? And that one question completely just changes the energy of your whole workflow. See, you were excited to upload, now you're hesitant. You started second guessing your decision, you started overthinking. So now you're on YouTube and Google searching, maybe you're even on forums or comment sections looking for things. And somehow you just end up more confused. That's because when you do all that research, you're gonna find that a lot of people are saying different things. And at the end of it, you still don't feel 100% confident. It makes it hard for you to move forward with your content plan. I've been creating content for some time, and I just recently decided to focus on YouTube. And I have experience with the copyright claim situation, which is why I've gone in this direction and I'm talking about this to you, because trust me, I've been in the shoes of the things I'm talking about. Now, a lot of creators tend to lose momentum at this point, whether it's, even if it's not music, right? Even if it's something else that's holding you up. But the point of this is that you want to have your workflow taken care of and your copyright issues non-existent. Okay, the music needs to be cleared. Now, you either take the risk and you upload that video anyway with the music that you're not sure about, or you spend hours trying to find the safe stuff. And a lot of the safe stuff sounds like corporate stock music. Both options are going to come with the cost. You can take the risk and lose monetization possibly, or if you over-research, you're just going to lose a lot of time. Time is the most valuable asset that we have. Can't get that back. Either way, both of those are going to slow down your growth. And on YouTube, you already know speed and consistency matter. The faster that you can create and upload is the faster that you can grow. Anything that slows that down is going to be a problem, including music licenses. Now, this is one of those hidden problems that doesn't seem like a big deal at first, but it compounds over time. When I had some copyright claim issues, I watched it compound quickly because I was getting them every day. I didn't know why, and we'll get into that. But it can go from copyright claim to copyright strike real fast. And if you keep getting those, they will threaten your channel. What's crazy? This is actually a simple problem once you understand what's happening behind the scenes, but most creators never take the time to learn it. And honestly, I don't blame creators, because if you're not coming from the music side of it, you probably don't have a reason to go this deep. And that's where I come in. Usually, creators just deal with the claims and deal with the stress and deal with the inconsistency, right? They don't know where to turn. When I get on threads, I see people asking about royalty-free music all the time. All want to know where they can find some. And everybody points them to Epidemic Sound. Shout out to Epidemic Sound. A lot of content creators never really fix the root problem. And once you understand the root problem, everything else becomes easier. Your workflow is going to become smoother, which is what we want, and then your confidence goes up. Now, there's really only like 3 ways to safely use music on YouTube. Number 1, you own the music. So in my case, I make the music from scratch. I own it. Therefore, no issue. 2, you have the proper permission or licensing, which means you went to a royalty-free or copyright-free music library website and you got a subscription, or you bought an individual track, or you got permission in some kind of way in writing. Now, it sounds very simple on the surface, but this is where it can get a little confusing, because not all licenses are equal. Not all the platforms that you decide to try to work with are going to explain things clearly, and not every single royalty-free music site is going to be, 100% safe, because some sites do things such as, while you have a subscription, then that's when it's safe, and then when you unsubscribe, it's no longer safe. You'll start getting claims on any future videos after that. And that's a business model, right? That's not ours, but that's a business model. The thing is, you don't want to assume that you're protected and then you get claims and you thought you did everything right. And that's one of the worst places to be in as a content creator, real talk. Now, the reason that we even see copyright claims on YouTube is something called Content ID. For those of you that are unaware, YouTube created a system called Content ID to help music artists and rights owners claim revenue from videos that use their songs. Upload a video, YouTube scans it, and if it detects a song that's registered with Content ID, it's going to flag your video for a copyright claim. And that claim means that the revenue from the video goes to the owner of the music and not you. Now, on paper, this makes sense, and it protects artists, and it prevents people from stealing, music. But here's the issue. It also makes it very hard to use the music that you actually want as a content creator. Because most popular tracks are registered with Content ID, and they don't have like an option for you to monetize or revenue share, right? A lot of songs don't have the opportunity for you to get a copyright claim, and then you can click into it on YouTube. So that's something a lot of people don't know. And then they'll give you the option for a revenue share. I don't even know how that works. That's something I want to research, but that's just a side note, okay? 9.9 times out of 10, if you get a copyright claim, it's a wrap. They're just claiming all the revenue, okay? It's even worse on live streams. If you have copyrighted music on a live stream, your live will end automatically, and you're much more likely to get a copyright strike on a live stream. So you gotta be extra careful with that. Now, I know the system very well. Like I said, I went through it personally. So if you go through my channel, you'll see a lot of long form content, mixes of my dance music, okay? I had a lot of different dance music I made in 2024, and I was putting it up live, putting it up for, long form videos for people to just click on, search, click on, and vibe to in the background, study to, whatever, right? I started getting copyright claims on my own music. And the thing that made it even crazier was that I was intentionally making all this music from scratch. So for me to get copyright claims on that was like insanely crazy, because I wasn't even sampling anything. Made everything from scratch, so I completely own everything. There's no legal nothing involved, because it's all mine. So it didn't make any sense to me. I'm thinking, how is this possible? It's my music, I made it from scratch, and it's still getting flagged. So I started creating a lot of problems. I had multiple copyright claims. I ended up with a copyright strike, okay? I wasted a lot of time trying to figure this out. I had to dispute a lot of those claims and strikes. I didn't win all of them. I won maybe one of them. 2 of them, and it didn't even really matter. It was too late, right? And then it got worse, right? Like I said, it got to a copyright strike level. If you know YouTube, that's serious. I couldn't post for a week. They said if I got another strike, I would not be able to post for 2 weeks. It's crazy, bro. And if you get a 3rd strike, well, you know what that means. So I spent time during that week doing research, trying to understand the system. And what I found changed everything. See, I realized that my music was registered with Content ID, and that was what was causing the copyright claims. So I made a business decision. I deleted my album and re-uploaded it, and I did not register it with YouTube's Content ID system. And after that, I got no more claims, no more issues, and everything worked the way that it should, okay? Why is that important for you? Most artists register their music with Content ID. So the music that you want to use is usually registered. And that means if you use it, you're at risk of messing up your channel. And so that's the disconnect between independent artists, all artists, but really independent artists and content creators. I feel like there's a gap to be bridged, and that we can work together. So if you're watching this video and you like my music, then we can work together. You see how that works? And if more artists were involved in this side of the music business, it would be really, really great for the YouTubers that are up and coming. Now, this is the thing. as you, the YouTuber. You are building income, you need monetization, you need reliability, you need consistency, and you need peace of mind. You need good music, safe music with easy access all in one place. And that's why I created the Savage Sound Library. So this isn't just about music, all right? It's about freedom as a creator. And what I want to say about that is, you know, we have enough stress as content creators, as YouTubers, trying to get monetized in the first place, coming up with a content plan, shooting, editing, coming up with thumbnails, right? Having a budget for these things if you don't feel that you're good enough to do them. And so the whole point of the Savage Sound Library was really just to stop the headaches, make it easy. Go here, I like these tracks, let me buy one or let me subscribe. You know, either way though, it just takes the headache out of it, because uploading a video and getting a copyright claim out of nowhere, days later, weeks later, trash. Sometimes immediately, right? I've been there. It's a terrible, 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 terrible thing. If this video brought you some value and you're ready to go ahead and check out some music, go to the savagesoundlibrary.com. We have chill house, chill hip hop with a West Coast flavor to it, so it's nice and groovy and funky, and chill liquid drum and bass music. So take a listen and let me make the vibe to your next project.